All right, guys, this is the last video we need to do for Unit 6. There's 7 units, so we only have one more unit to go. For the study guide, I'm just going to go over how to do each problem. This video might be a little bit longer than most because I am going to go over how to do each problem by hand as well as on the calculator, because I know that a lot of y'all don't have calculators at home, so I want to be able to show you how to do it by hand in order to do it for the test after this study guide. But like I said, if you have your own calculator, that's great. If you don't, and remember I said if you just go on to TI-84 and Google TI-84 online calculator, there is a way to download a 90-day trial for the calculator. So you would just type it in the actual calculator on your screen. Okay, so just as a reminder, mean is when you take the average Okay, so the mean is when you take the average of a data set. Remember, that's when you add up all the points and divide by however many numbers there are. The median is the point in the middle, or the data point in the middle. And remember, to find your median, first you have to list your points out from the smallest to largest before you can find what all of those points are, before you can find the median. The mode is the data point that occurs the most. And then the range is your largest point. Ooh, I don't know why I was writing a T. Your largest point minus your smallest point. Okay, your largest minus your smallest, versus the interquartile range is your upper quartile, or your upper limit, or your Q3. Minus your lower quartile, or your Q2. Okay, and so standard deviation, that is the mean, or the average amount of distance away from the mean that you are. And so remember, that's that equation, square root of the sum of your point minus your mean squared all over n, which is your number of points that you have. Okay, and remember, to do that, you would take each point and subtract your mean, add and square all of those, and then divide by however many, or add them all up and then divide by that, and then square root it. And so I will be doing this by hand, but I'll also show you on the calculator how to do that as well, just so that my people that don't have a calculator or access to a computer can do it as well. And then your z-score is your x value minus your mean divided by your standard deviation. Okay, and that's your z-score. And so remember, your z-score, it basically tells you how many standard deviations above or below the mean that you are. Okay, so for each set of data points in the following examples, we're going to find the mean, median, mode, range, standard deviation, and we're going to graph whichever option it tells us to do. So like, for example, number 8 on letter F, it tells me to create a box and whisker plot. So if it tells me to do a histogram or a frequency plot or whatever, I'm going to create whatever it is it asks me to. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the mean. So remember, the mean is when you add up all your points. Plus 18, plus 30, plus 21, plus 25, plus 32, plus 26, plus 32. And we'll come down here again, plus 35, plus 19, plus 26, plus 38, plus 31, plus 23, plus 23 again. And you divide by however many numbers there are. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Okay, so 16 numbers that we're dividing by. Okay, always add first and then divide by 16. So we've got 25 plus 25 plus 18 plus 30 plus 21 plus 25 plus 32 plus 26, 32, 35, 19, 26, 38, 31, 23, and 23. And then we divide by 16. Okay, and that gives me 26.8125. And just real quick, I'm going to show you the calculator trick first, and then I'll do the by hand parts first so we know that we're doing everything right. So I know that my answers are right. So we'll hit Stat Edit, and we'll plug in our points. Remember to clear L1, you just go over to where L1 is highlighted and hit Clear Enter. All right, so we've got 25, 25, 18, 30, 21, 25, 32, 32, 35, 19, 26, 38, 31, and 23. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, I got 16, hold on. 23, oh, 23 again. 23, 23, 31, 38, 26, 19, 35, 32, 26. Oh, I skipped 26 on accident. Let me throw that in at the bottom. There we go. All right. And then hit Stat, Calc, the one variable stats. So my mean should be 26.8125. Right? And then my median, remember median is at MED, so that's 25.5. It doesn't tell you the mode in the calculator, so that's just something you have to look and say, okay, which one do I have the most of? And then your range, you take your max, which is 38, minus my min, which is 18. So that would be 28, and that should be 10. 38 minus 18. Oh, it gives me 20. Okay, and then, let's see, oh, I skipped the mode. 20 goes here, and then my standard deviation is 5.15 or 5.514. Okay, and you can use either 2 or 3 decimal places. And then the mode is whatever number happens the most. I'm going to fill that out when I find my median so I can see all my numbers in a row. Okay, so earlier we added up all those points and then divided by 16. 25, 25, 18, 30. Let me do it again. Ooh, what am I doing? 25 plus 25 plus 18 plus 30 plus 21 plus 25 plus 32 plus 26 plus 32 plus 35 plus 19 plus 26 plus 38 plus 31 plus 23 plus 23 divided by 16. Did I do something wrong? Let's see, I might have done something wrong in my table. 23, 23, 31, 38. This is why it's really important to make sure you type everything in correctly. 23, 23, 31, 38, 26, 19, 35, 35. Why do I have 35 twice? That's supposed to be 32, 35, 26. Let me just do this all over again. 30, 21, plus 25, plus 32, plus 26, plus 32, plus 35, plus 19, plus 26, plus 38, plus 31, plus 23, plus 23, divided by 16. There we go, 26.8125, somewhere I typed something in wrong the first time. So that is my mean. Okay, remember you add it all up and divide by however many numbers you have. And then your median, you list your numbers from smallest to largest and use that to be able to find what your median is. So I'm gonna list them from smallest to largest down here. So we have 18 is my smallest number. Then we have 19. Then we have 21, I think. Yep, 21. Then we have 25, I believe is the next small. Nope, 23. 23, 23. And then we have 25. Happens 1, 2, 3 times. And then we got 26 happens twice. And then we've got 30, 31, 32, 32, 30, 31, 32, 32, 35, and 38. Okay, so I listed them from smallest to largest. And we cross them out starting at each end, or you can just draw a line underneath, whatever helps you with marking each one. 32, 23, 31, 25, 30, 25, 25, and then we've got 25 and 26 left over in the middle. And so remember, if you have 2 left over, that means you take those 2 numbers, 25 plus 26, and find the average between the 2 of those. So 25 plus 26 divided by 2 is what gives me that 25.5, which we already know is true because my calculator did the math for me before. Okay, now my mode is the number that happens the most. So looking here, I've got 23 that happens twice, 25 happens 3 times. So I think that is my mode because it's the only one that happens 3 times or more. So 25 is my mode. All right, and then your range, you take your largest number, which is 38, minus your smallest number, which is 18, which is what gives us 20. 38 minus 18 gives me 20. And then your standard deviation, that's that long one that we had to make the whole table and all of that. So I'm going to do that. I am going to do it on a scrap sheet of paper just because I don't have a whole lot of space on here and I need to be able to fit a box and whisker plot on here as well. So remember, you had to first find the mean, which we've already done. We got that that's 26.8125. So I'm going to list all my numbers down the list. Again, I'm going to do 18. I'm going to do it from smallest to largest just because I already have it written down. 21, 23, 23, 25 is 3 times. Then we've got 26 twice. And then we've got 30, 31, 32 happens twice, 35, and 38, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yep. Okay, and so you had to take all of those numbers and subtract your mean, which was 26. We'll do 26.81. And when you do this, not only do you have to subtract the mean, but you then have to square it. Because if you look back at our standard deviation equation, it's the sum of your numbers minus your mean squared. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and write it out to where each one of those is squared. And as long as you type each one of these in the calculator just the way it's written like this, you'll get each one of those right. And our answer might be a little bit off from what the calculator's is, just because it can be more accurate as far as decimal places. Since I'm only using 2 decimal places, my answer will be just a little bit off from whatever the calculator gave me. But either way, it's still correct. And as long as you do it by hand, you'll be able to kind of figure out what's closest to what that answer is. So I'm going to take each one of those. It's going to take me a minute. I'm going to have to go through in the calculator and type all of those in the calculator. So 18 minus 26.81 squared. That gives me 77.62. 19 minus 26.81 squared gives me 60 actually it's going to basically round up to 61 because the 6 will tell this 9 to round up, which makes that 9 round up, so that's going to become 69. Oh, 61, sorry. 61. Okay. 21 minus 26.81. 21 minus 26.81 squared gives me 33.76. And in your calculator, you don't necessarily have to do this. If you're using your phone calculator, you can just do that minus that and then square it. Okay? Or you can type it in the computer that way, and the computer will do the calculation for you as well. 23 minus 26.81 squared gives me 14.52. 23 happens again, so that's going to be the same number, 14.52. And then 25 minus 26.81 squared gives me 3.28. And since 25 happens 3 times, I can go ahead and fill that in the next 3 times. And then we've got 26, that happens twice. And that's going to give me 0.66. And then we got 30. And that gives me 10.18. And then we got 31. And that gives me 17.56. And that one's going to give me 26.94. And so that happens twice, so 26.94. And then we got 35. That's going to give me 67.08. And then 38 is the last one. And that's going to give me 125.22. And remember, after you do that, we need to add all of these numbers up and divide by 16 because that's how many numbers we have. So remember, that means sum. So we take all those numbers that we just got and add them up and then divide by n. And whatever answer we get there, we'll square root it. So I'm going to add all those numbers up. So we got, I'm going to make sure I type this in right. 77.62 plus 61 plus 33.76 plus 14.52 twice, plus 3.283 times, plus 0.66 twice, plus 10.18, plus 17.56, plus 26.94 twice, plus 67.08, plus 125.22. And that gives me 486.5. And we're going to take that number, we're going to divide it by 16. And that's going to give me 30.41. And we're going to square root that. That gives me 5.514. And so, luckily, with my 2 decimal places, I still ended up with the same correct standard deviation as what I got. So my rounding didn't actually hurt me any. So 5.514. So just to reiterate what I did, I found the mean, which we did earlier, which is where I got the 26.81. And then we take each point and subtract it and square it. Whatever number we get, we add those up and divide by however many numbers we are and then square root that answer. So that's what gave me that 5.514. So if you don't have a TI-84 calculator at home, you can do this without having it. Okay? So then the last thing tells us to find to create a box and whisker plot. So remember, box and whisker plot, is when you have to have the min number, that 5-number summary, your min, your Q2, your Q3, your median, your Q3, and then your max number. So my min number here is 18. So I'm gonna just type in or write my min is 18. My Q2, we don't know yet. So what we need to do is we need to find that. So remember, because we stopped here when we found our median, we were stuck between 25 and 26. We basically draw a line right in between 25 and 26. And this is what I use to find my Q2. And what's left is what I use to find my Q3. So I'm going to start crossing out. And so I've got two 23s, which means my Q2 is also going to be 23. And then I need my median, which we already found to be 25.5. And then my Q3. So we'll do the median again on our second section. And so I've got 31 and 32 left over. So 31 plus 32 divided by 2 is going to give me 31.5. So my Q3 is at 31.5, and then my max number is at 38. Okay, so I need to create a number line starting from 18 and going all the way to 38. And you don't have to do by ones, you can do by 2s or 3s or whatever to help you with your space. So I'm going to start at 18 and I'm going to go in increments of 2 just to kind of help me with space. So that's 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38 is my max. I'm going to just go one more time and go 40. Okay? So, your min, or we always start by graphing our median first. That's 25.5. So 20, 22, 24, 25 would be in here. So really close to 26 is where I would be at. So that's 26 right there. So 25.5 would be right there. That's our median. Our Q2 is at 23, so 20, 22, 23 would be right in the middle. And then 20, or 31.5, so 30, 31.5 would be really close to here. So that creates our box. So we graphed our median, our Q2 and Q3 first, and then we graph our min and our max. Our min is at 18, so that's where we create our whiskers at. So that's our dot in the line there, and then 38 is my max. So there is my box and whisker plot. Okay, so just going to give you a second to have everything right there. So again, first I went and already found all my data using the calculator. Remember, you use stat edit, plug in your points, and then hit stat calc and go to that one variable stats, and it should give you everything except for the mode. That's the only thing it doesn't give you, because if I hit stat calc and go to my one variable stats again, it actually does give you your Q2 and Q3. It actually labels Q2 as Q1, same thing, and then Q3 was at 31.5. So that actually gives you those values as well if it asks you for a box and whisker plot. Okay, so I gave you the calculator way, and then I went and showed you by hand how to do it. So you add up all your numbers, divide by 16 to get your mean. Your median, you list them from smallest to largest and start canceling out numbers from each end until you get to the middle. And then your mode is the number that it happens the most. So 25 happened 3 times, so that was my mode. My range, we subtracted my biggest number, which was 38 minus 18. And then my standard deviation is when I did all of this, taking all my numbers and subtracting my mean, and then squaring them, adding those numbers up, divided by 16 and square root. Okay, so that's the first page of the study guide. So let's move on to the second page. And the second page, we're finding the same bits of information. We need to find our mean, median, mode, range, and all of that good stuff. So remember, A is the mean, B is the median, C is the mode, D is the range, and then E is our standard deviation. Put SD for standard deviation, okay? So again, I'm going to show you the calculator way to do that first, okay? So we'll do stat edit, and again, to clear out your column, you go up to L1 and hit clear, enter, and type in your new point. So 15, 19, 24, 28, 26, 29, 17, 16, 17, 14, 22, 20, 18, 27, 27. So I should have 15 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yep, 15 numbers. So then we hit Stat, Calc, go to our one variable stats. And so my mean here is 21.27. My median is 20. The mode we'll have to find by hand. I'll do that one in a minute. My range is my max number, which is 29, minus my min number, which is 14. So 29 minus 14, this is 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. So that should be 15. And then my standard deviation is this number right here. That's 4.9999. So we'll basically say that my standard deviation is 5. Okay. So again, I'm going to show you how to do each one by hand first. Okay. So remember, my mean is when you add all your numbers up and divide by however many numbers you have. So to find my mean, I'm going to add all of my numbers up. 15 plus 19 plus 24 plus 28 plus 26 plus 29 plus 17 plus 16 plus 17 plus 14 plus 22 plus 20 plus 18 plus 27 twice. And so I have 15 numbers here, so I'm going to divide by 15 after that. So let me go ahead and put that in my calculator. And it should give us 21.26 repeating. So let's make sure we're doing this right. 15 plus 19 plus 24 plus 28 plus 26 plus 29 plus 17 plus 16 plus 17 plus 14 plus 22 plus 20 plus 18 plus 27 plus 27 divided by 15 gives me that 21.26 repeating. So 21.27. Okay, so that's how we got that. And then our median, we need to list our numbers from smallest to largest. So I'm going to come down here. So smallest number is 14. And then I need to start, let me come over here. 14, and I need to start listing my numbers. So 15, 16, 17 happens twice, 18, 19, 20, 22, 24, 28, no, 26, 22, 24, 26, then 27 happens twice, and then 28 and 29. Okay, so I listed all my numbers from smallest to largest, and just to come, we'll come back to the median, but just to note, my mode, 17 happens twice and 27 happens twice. So both of those are my modes. So 17 and 27 are my mode. Okay, so then to find my median, start crossing stuff out on both ends. And so 20 is my median. Okay, so that was the number left over. And remember, if you have an odd number in your list, which is, in this case, we have 15, so that's an odd number, that means you should be able to just easily find what your median is. So 20 was my median. Okay, we found our mode. Range, we took our largest number minus our smallest number. And again, I'm going to show you how to do the standard deviation by hand. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line and list my numbers again, and I'm going to list them from smallest to largest. So we've got 14, 15, 16, 17, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 24, 26, 27 happens twice, and then 28 and 29. And again, remember when we do that, we then subtract our mean. So that's 21.26. We found that earlier up here. And we always subtract our mean and then square it. So everything after we write down subtracting our mean, we're going to square everything. Go ahead and draw out my parentheses. And again, on your test, you don't have to do this by hand. I'm just showing everybody that doesn't have a calculator at home how to do it by hand. So just in case you don't have access, so you know how to do it yourself by hand, you can use your phone calculator to do the rest. Okay? And you won't have a whole lot of questions where you have to find the standard deviation. There might be some questions where you have to find a standard deviation of a smaller set of numbers, but not something this large. So I'm just doing it so you have plenty of practice. So let's do this. 14 minus 21.26 squared gives me 52.71. 15 minus 21.26 squared gives me 39.19. 16 minus 21.26 squared gives me 27.67. 17 minus 21.26 squared gives me 18.15. And so I've got 17 twice, so that's 18.15 twice. And we've got 18 minus 21.26 squared gives me 10.63. 19 minus 21.26 squared gives me 5.11. 20 minus 21.26 squared gives me 1.59. 22 minus 21.26 squared gives me 0.55. 24 minus 21.26 squared gives me 7.51. 26 minus 21.26 squared gives me 22.47. 27 minus 21.26 squared gives me 32.95, and I've got 27 twice, so 32.95 twice. And then 28 minus 21.26 squared gives me 45.43. And then 29 minus 21.26 squared gives me 59.91. Okay, and remember, once we do that, we take all those numbers and add them together. So I'm going to take each one of these in this column and add them together. 52.71 plus 39.19 plus 27.67 plus 18.15 plus 18.15 plus 10.63 plus 5.11 plus 1.59 plus 0.55 plus 7.51 plus 22.47 plus 32.95 plus 45.43 plus 59.91. And then we divide that by 15 because that's how many numbers we have. So 342.02 divided by 15 gives me 22.801, so 22.8. And then we square root that. And that gives me 4.77. And so this is what I mean by my numbers being just a little bit off from what theirs, because I rounded by 2 decimal places. So my answer is 4.77, which basically rounds up to 5. So whenever you do, if you have to do standard deviation by hand, yours answer might be a little bit off from the multiple choice based off of your rounding. Don't do any more rounding more than just 2 decimal places. So you should always have 2 decimal places in these answers when you're doing these. And so it might just be thrown off a little bit, but you can kind of tell based off of your multiple choice which one is correct. All right, so then we want to create a frequency table. Remember, frequency table is when you're just using a range to be able to say how many times a number happens in those cases. So like I had my numbers 14 through 29. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a range of, I'm probably just going to go in increments of, we'll go in increments of 3. So we'll have 14, 15, 16, 17. So 14 through 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Okay, so that starts from 14 all the way to 29. That was just luck that it starts and ends at my smallest to my largest. It could have ended at that 30, and that's fine. Okay, and so then my tally, or my frequency table, we just go through and list how many times each one happens. So you got 14, 15, 16, 17 happens twice, and then we got 18, 19, 20, and then 22, 24, and then 26, 27 happens twice, 28, and 29. So that's our frequency table, okay? Frequency table, that means that it happens 5 times, 3, 2, and 4. So in your test, it won't be in tallies. It'll be what these numbers are. So you may have to create your own tally on your sheet of paper at home. All right. And so then we have number 10. I think this is the last one. We have to do all of it. Nope, we got one more. Okay, so we got 2 more to do. All right, so number 10, we've got 62, 60, and all that. So again, we need to find our mean, median. Oop, I can't spell. Median, mode, range, and then standard deviation, and then we have to create a normal distribution curve, and that's that little bell shape where we use our standard deviation to help us. Okay, now on the mean, because there's so many numbers there, I'm not going to write them all the way out on the paper like I did up here. I think you guys kind of get the gist of it, so I'm going to add them all up in my calculator just to save me some time. So we got 62 plus 60 plus, well, let me go ahead and find the data first. Stat edit and clear out my column, and I'll go ahead and fill out the numbers that the calculator gives me, and then I'll do it by hand. So 62, 62, 60, 90, 88, 88, 66, 76, 62, 77, 96, 76, 85, 82, 96, 81, 66, 68, 96, 67, 68, 79, and 98. Oops, I messed up somewhere. 66. 68, 90. 98, 79, 68, 67, 96, 68. Okay, cool. And so let me count my numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yep, I got 22 numbers there. So hit stat, calc, one variable stats. So my mean is 78.5. My median is 78. My mode, we don't know yet. We'll have to come back for that. My range is 98 minus 60. So 60, 98, 78. 88, 78, 68, 58, 48, 38. So that would be 38 is my range. And then my standard deviation is 12.13. Okay, so now we're going to do that all of this by hand again. So we'll add up all of our numbers: 62 plus 60 plus 90 plus 88 plus 88 plus 66 plus 76 plus 62 plus 77 plus 96 plus 76 plus 85 plus 82 plus 96, 81, 66, 68, 96, 67, 68, 79, and 98. And we divide by 22, which gives me that 78.5. There you go. So you added up all the numbers and then divide by however many numbers there are, which is 22. If you add up all of these numbers in this list, that's 22 numbers. All right, so then we'll find our median. So we need to list our numbers from smallest to largest. All right, so my minimum number is 60. So I'm going to write it here. 60. 62 happens twice. There's no 63. There's 66. Yep, 66 happens twice. Then there is 67. Then there's 68 twice. And then we go into the 70s. Letty, hush, baby. 76, 77, 79, and then we have 81, 82, 85, 88 happens twice. 90. Oh, did I miss 76? Oops, 76 happens twice. My bad. Just noticed that. 90, 96, and 98. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Ooh, did I miss some numbers? Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Oop, 96 happens twice. Oop, 96 happens 3 times. Whoo, I missed that. And then 98. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So I missed a number still. Let's see. Where did I miss it? $60, 62, another 62, 66, 67, 68 happens twice, 76 happens twice, 77, 79, 81, 82, 85, 88. Oh, did I miss a 66? Is that where I messed up? Yep, I missed a 66. Yep, I missed the 66. There we go. That's where I messed up. Okay. So, then see, now this is why it's important to count how many numbers you have listed versus how many are up here when you list from least to greatest, because that makes sure that you have not made a mistake or forgotten anything like I clearly did there. So, to find our median, we cross stuff out from the back to the front. 67, 88, 68, 68, 88. And I'm left with 77 and 79. So when you do 77 plus 79 divided by 2, that gives you 78. So that's where my median comes from. So again, it's very important when you find the median, especially if you have a big list of numbers like this. And whenever I list them out, I counted to see, I knew I was supposed to have 22 up here, so that means I should have had 22 down here, and that's where I messed up and forgot some numbers out there. So I had to go back and check to see which numbers I had forgotten. All right, and then our mode is however many numbers happen more than the most. So 62 happens twice, 66 happens twice, 68. We might have a lot of modes here. 62, 66, 68, 76, 70, nope, 81, 82, 85, 80, 88. Oh, 96 happens 3 times. So 96 is my mode, because even though these happen twice, 96 happens 3 times. So 96 is my mode there. All right. And then remember, my range is where I take my largest number, 98, minus my smallest number, which is 60. And so that gives you 38. And then our standard deviation is when we have to do all those numbers by hand. So let me go ahead and start listing those out. So we got 60, 62, 62, 66, 66. At least a lot of these double, so it won't take quite as long. 67, 68 happens twice. 76 happens twice. 77, 79. I'm gonna come up here. 81, 82. 85, 88 happens twice. 90, 96 happens 3 times. And then 98. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. All right. And so that we have to subtract by our mean, which is 78.5, and square it. So minus 78.5 squared for each one of those. Ooh, my hand's gonna hurt after writing all this stuff out. Ooh, my hand hurts now. Good Lord. I know half of y'all ain't even writing this down, but you know, I do it anyways, even though y'all don't listen to me. All right. So now let's actually put these in the calculator. So we got 60 minus 78.5 squared. And that's going to give me 342.25. 62 minus 78.5 squared. Oop, I messed that one up. 62 minus 78.5 squared. There we go. 272.25. 62 minus, oh, we already did that one. 272.6 or 25. 66 minus 78.5 squared gives me 156.25, and we already did that with 66, so 156.25 again. And we do 67, so 67 minus 78.5 squared gives me 132.25. 68 minus 78.5 squared gives me 110.25, and we got 68 twice. And then we scooch up to 76 minus 78.5 squared. So that gives me 6.25, and then 6.25 again. And then we do the same thing with 77, which gives me 2.25. 79 minus 78.5 squared gives me 0.25. And then we flip over to our next column. And we got 81 minus 78.5 squared gives me 6.25. 82 minus 78.5 squared gives me that 12.25. 42.25, and then we do 88. That gives me 90.25. 88 we already have, so 90.25 again. Then we've got 90 minus 78.5 squared, which will give me 132.25. And then 96 happens 3 times. So that gives me 306.25. And then my last one, we have 98 minus 78.25 squared. No, 78.5, sorry. And that gives me 380.25. All right. So then remember that's when we add them all up and divide by, this time we'll divide by 22 because that's how many numbers we have. So we got to add all these up. We got 342.25 plus 272.25 plus 156.25 plus 132.25 plus 110.25 twice plus 6.25 twice plus 2.25 plus 0.25 plus 6.25 plus 12.25 plus 42.25 plus 40.25. No, wait, 42, that's a 90.25. Plus 132.25. Plus 306.25 3 times. Plus 380.25. And then, so that gives me 3,239.5. We divide by 22. And then we square root that. Oops. And so that should give me our standard deviation. Where did I mess up? Oh, wait, 12.13. Okay, I was looking at the wrong problem. Whew. Okay, 12.13. So I did all of that by hand. I promise your test has no data points that are that long. So you take that and you square root it, and it gives you 12.13 as your standard deviation. So that standard deviation is what helps us with finding our normal distribution curve. So remember, with your normal distribution curve, you create this bell shape, and in the middle of your bell is your mean, so that's 78.5, and then you should have 1, 2, 3 standard deviations on both ends. So we're going to add and subtract our standard deviation 3 times. So we got 78.5 plus 12.13 one time. So that's 90.63 plus 12.13 plus 12.13 one more time gives me 114.89. Okay, and then we do the same thing, but we start subtracting 3 times. So we do 78.5 minus 12.13 to give me 66.37. Subtract 12.13 again to give me 54.24. And subtract 12.13 one more time to get 42.11. And remember, with the normal distribution curve, this isn't part of the problem, but you will need to know this on your test, is that our first standard deviation away is 34% of your data. The next standard deviation away is 13.5%. And then 2.35 is the next one. Okay, and so this whole entire thing is about 97% of your data. This is about 95, and then this is 68% of your data. Falls within these two. So you will need to know that for your test. Make sure you keep up with that, and we'll do some examples like that later. All right, so on the next page, we have one more of those to do, and then the rest is just little small problems here and there. So it won't be, the rest of these won't take it long, okay? So we got one more to do, and luckily this data set is a lot smaller. So again, remember, A is the mean, B is the median, C is the mode, D is the range, and then E is my standard deviation. So we'll find each one of those. The first thing we'll do is we'll do it by the calculator. So we hit Stat Edit, and remember, to clear out your column, you go up to L1, hit Clear Enter. And some of you might have this issue where you somehow clear out L1. In order to get your L1 back, you just hit second plus 712. You're resetting your calculator, and it'll bring back your L1 again. So Stat Edit, you don't have to reset your calculator. That's just me showing you if you're missing an L1, you need to be able to do that. So we got 25, 15, 28, 52, 22, 38, 42, 44, 24, 32, 19, 28, 29, 20, and 31. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yep, 15 numbers. And we hit Stat Calc, go to our one variable stats. And so my mean should be 29.93. My median should be 28. We don't know what the mode is. Our range is 52 minus 15. So that'll be 42, 41, 40, 39, 38, 37. And then the standard deviation is 9.91. All right, so then let's do this. Let's do the rest of it by hand. All right, so again, to find our mean, that's when you add up all of your numbers and divide by however many numbers there are. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I'm going to add all those numbers up and divide by 15. Okay, so we have 25 plus 15 plus 28 plus 52 plus 22 plus 38 plus 42 plus 44 plus 24 plus 32 plus 19 plus 28 plus 29 plus 20 plus 31. And then we divide by 15. So that's what gives us our 29.933 repeating, okay? So then our next one, our median, we need to list our numbers from smallest to largest. And so my smallest number is 15. And then we keep going. So let's see what we have next. 19. Then we have 20. And we have 22. Then we have 24. 25, and then we have 28, happens twice. And we've got 29, 31, 38, 42, oop, I forgot 32, 32, 38, there we go. 42, 44, and 52. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yep, so I got all my numbers. And so we, again, to find our median, we need to go smallest to largest, canceling stuff out on both ends. Boom, 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 da, da, da. And 28 is what's left over, so that is my median. So that's what we got. Your mode is the number that happens the most. The only number that repeats itself here is 28 because it happens twice. So that means my mode is 28. And then my range, we take our largest number, 52, minus our smallest number, which is 15, and that is 37. So that's my range. My standard deviation, we need to do the same thing we've been doing on paper. So let me list out my numbers again. So we got 15, 19, 20, 22, 24. We've got 25, 28 happens twice. 29, 31, 32. 38, 42. 44 and 52. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yep. And so we found that our mean was 29.93. So we're going to be subtracting by that and squaring it. This is why I miss having you guys in class, because if we were in class, all I'd have to do is show you the calculator trick and we'd be done. And this study guide would probably be done a long time ago. All right. So we got it all written out, and so remember that's when we do all that and then add them up. So we'll do 15 minus 29.93 squared gives me 222.90. 19 minus 29.93 squared gives me 119.46. 20 minus 29.93 squared gives me 98.60. 22 minus 29.93 squared gives me 62.88. 24 minus 29.93 squared gives me 35.16. 24.30 3.72. 28 minus 29.93 squared gives me 3.72. 29 gives me 0.86. 31 gives me 1.14. 65.12. 145.68. 197.96, and then the last one gives me 487.08. All right, so we'll take all those numbers and add them together. So 222.9 plus 119.46 plus 98.60 plus 62.88 plus 35.16 plus 24.30 plus 3.72 plus 3.72 plus 0.86 plus 1.14 plus 4.28 plus 65.12 plus 145.68 plus 197.96 plus 487.08. And then we divide, so that's 1,472.86, and we have 15 terms, so we're dividing by 15. Gives me 98.19, and then we square root that, which gives me 9.91. Okay, so this is just verifying what the calculator gave us by doing it by hand. And again, on your test, you're not going to be forced to do it by hand, but if you don't have a calculator or you don't have that 90-day trial, then you're unfortunately going to have to do it by hand. But like I said, your number lists or your data sets will not be this big, so you won't have like 15 and 20 and 30 numbers to have to do. All right, so then we have to create a histogram. So before you can create a histogram, first thing you have to do is create a frequency table. So we have numbers from 15 all the way to 52. So I think I'm going to go in increments of 5. So I'm going to go 15 to 20, 21 to 25, 26 to 30, 31 to 35, 36 to 40, 41 to 45, and then 46 to 50, and then 51 to 51 to 55. All right, and since I have them in least to greatest, that automatically helps me with doing my tally mark. So we got 15, 19, 20, 22, 24, 25, 28, 28, 29, 31, 32, 38, 42, 44, and then 52. Okay, so that gives me my tally. So that's 3, 3, 3, 2, 1, 2, 0, 1. So that will help me with creating my histogram. Okay, so with your histogram, remember that's when you go from here to here, and you list again 15 to 20, 21 to 25, 26 to 30, 31 to 35, 36 to 40, 41 to 45, Oops, I'm about to run out of room. I'm going to skip 46 to 50 just because it doesn't have any, but you know that it's supposed to be there. 51 to 55. All right, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so 15 to 20 had 3. So that's when we create that bar going up to 3. 21 to 25 also had 3. 26 to 30 also had 3. 31 to 35 had 2. 36 to 40 had 1. 41 to 45 had 2. And you would have, but I ran out of space, 46 through 50 would have had 0, so you would have had nothing there. And then 51 to 55 had 1. Okay, so that's how you create that histogram. Make sure you give yourself plenty of space, which on the test, it'll be multiple choice. So you'll have the histograms already created for you. You just have to match up with which one is the correct one. All right, now number 12 says find the outlier in the data set. So remember, to find the outlier, you have to take your interquartile range and you have to multiply it by 1.5. And once you do that, you'll take your Q2 and subtract that number. I'm going to put equals X. So we'll do Q2 minus X and Q3 plus X. Okay, whatever those two numbers are, that is what your max and min would be. Anything outside of those numbers, less than or greater than those two numbers, are an outlier. So first thing we need to do is we need to find what our interquartile range is. So we need to list our numbers from smallest to largest. So we have 14, 15, we got 12, forgot 12, 16, 20, 21, 22, and 35. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is more likely what your number sets will be, about 8 numbers or somewhere around that. Okay? So the first thing we do is find our median. So 12, 35, 14, 22, 15, 21, 16, and 20 is what's left over. So 16 plus 20 divided by 2 gives me 18. So that is my median. Okay? And so now I need to find my Q2 and Q3. You cannot find the Q2 and Q3 without finding your median first. So that's why I had to do that. So then I do 16 and 12 cross out. Well, I got 14 and 15. So 14 plus 15 divided by 2 is going to give me 14.5. So 14.5 is my Q2. All right, and then we've got 20, 35, 21, and 22 is what's left over. So 21 plus 22 divided by 2 gives me 21.5 is my Q3. And remember, interquartile range is when you take these two numbers and subtract them. So I need to do 21.5 minus 14.5. And that's going to give me 7, okay? So then we've got our interquartile range. That's what we just found. That's my IQR, okay? And we're going to multiply that. I'm going to draw an arrow so you know that's what that is. And we're going to multiply that by 1.5, okay? So 7 times 1.5 gives me 10.5, all right? So what we have to do is take our Q2 and subtract 10.5. So 14.5 minus 10.5, that's going to give me 4.5, it should be, or 4, sorry. So 4. So that should be my absolute minimum number. Now notice my numbers don't go any lower than 4, so we're good there. So then we take our Q3, which is 21.5, and add 10.5. 21.5 plus 10.5 gives me 32. Now 32 should be my max, but notice I have a number larger than 32. So my minimum number should be 4 at the most. You cannot, anything lower than 4 would be an outlier. 32, anything higher than 32 is an outlier. So 35 means that that is an outlier. 35 is my answer. Okay? So it's a lot of extra work, but it's really not that bad. You just have to find your interquartile range, multiply, and then add and subtract. So it's really just a bunch of little details, a lot of little steps. All right, number 13 says the number of cookies in a shipment of bags are normally distributed with a mean of 64 and a standard deviation of 4. So automatically, and before I've even finished reading the problem, I'm going ahead and creating what that curve looks like. So we've got a mean of 64 and a standard deviation of 4. So that means I'm going to add 4, so that's 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, and then 76, and then I'm going to subtract 4. So that's 60, 56, and then 52. All right, it is asking what percent of bags of cookies will contain between 60 and 68. So it's asking from 60 to 68. Well, my median is what's in the middle there. So that's, remember we talked about earlier, I sat there and told you from your mean, this was 34% and this was 34%. So if this and this are 34, that means that my total is going to be 68% of my bags will have that many amount of cookies in it. Okay, and you will have a problem similar to this where it gives you a range and you have to add those percentages up to determine what what percentage is going to fall within that amount. Okay, so again, 60 to 68, that was one standard deviation on both sides, so that would be 68%. Okay, all right, almost done. These are a little bit shorter. All right, so a set of data with a mean of 56 and a standard deviation of 3.3 is normally distributed. Okay, so again, I'm going to draw out my little curve here. And my mean is 56. And my standard deviation is 3.3. So 56 plus 3.3 gives me 59.3. Plus 3.3 again gives me 62.6. Plus 3.3 one more time gives me 65.9. And then it said, and then we got to subtract 3.3. So 56 minus 3.3 gives me 52.7. Minus 3.3 gives me 49.4. And then minus 3.3 one more time gives me 46.1. All right, and the question asks us, find the values that are 2 standard deviations from the mean. So my mean again is 56. So we need to move to the left 2 and to the right 2. So if I take 56 and move to the left 2 times, that's 49.4. And then if I move to the right 2 times, that gives me 62.6. So these 2 are your 2 answers. They are your values that are 2 standard deviations from the mean. That's all you had to do was draw your picture and find what those 2 points were. All right. Number 15 says scores on an exam have a mean of 70 and a standard deviation of 5. If someone had a 60 on the test, what is their z-score? So remember, z-score is equal to your x value minus your mean over your standard deviation. Okay? So we know that their score was a 60. Their mean of the test was a 70 over the standard deviation, which was 5. So 60 minus 70 is negative 10. Divided by 5 is negative 2. So 60 minus 70 divided by 5 gives me negative 2. So that means their z-score is not good. That means that they made below what the average of the test was. And you never want to get what the below the average is, because that means you did really bad. Or not really bad, but not as good as what everybody else did. All right, number 16 says the scores on an exam have a mean of 80 and a standard deviation of 6. If someone made a 74 on the test, what is their z-score, and what percentage of people made a higher test score? Okay? So first of all, we need to find out what their z-score is. So we're going to take, again, their test score, which is 74, minus their mean, which is 80, over the standard deviation, which is 6. So 74 minus 80 gives me negative 6 over 6, which gives me a negative 1 standard deviation. Okay? So now you can write out all the numbers, but I already know 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Their z-score is right here in this line, one less than my mean, okay? So that's my mean, and then that's 1, 2, 3, -1, -2, -3. Okay, we want to know what percentage of people made a higher test score. So that means everybody above them is what their test made a higher test score for them. So that means we got 34 and 34. And then this percentage, remember, has 13.5%. And then 2.35. So 34 plus 34 plus 13.5 plus 2.35 means that 83.85% or 84, either one of those I'll take, made a higher test score than them. All right, so what we did again was we found what their z-score was, and you didn't have to necessarily write out, okay, this is set 80 and this is +6 and -6 and so on, because their z-score told me where on this graph I was. You could have done it, but you didn't have to. And then you would have added your percentages again. All right, so then number 17 says the mean of an exam is 65 and standard deviation is 6. What is someone's exam score if their z-score is 1.5? So we know that their z-score is equal to 1.5. We don't know what their actual test score was. Their mean was 65 over the standard deviation, which is 6. All right, so then we multiply by 6 to both sides. So 6 times 1.5 gives me 9. So that's 9 equals x minus 65. So then you add 65 to both sides. So that gives me that x is equal to 74. So that is their test score when their z-score was 1.5. All right, and then these last few questions, well, these last up until 21, are asking about sampling. So those different types of sampling is what we're asking about. Which one is which? Okay, so with number 18 says, Ms. Mitchell chooses every 5th person on her attendance roster to do a problem in class. What type of sampling is this? Automatically, every 5th person, when it's talking about every so amount of people or every so amount of whatever, that automatically tells me that that is a systematic random sample. Okay, so that's a systematic random sample. Number 19 says Ms. Mitchell chooses every senior homeroom and then selects 5 random students from each homeroom to take a survey. What type of sampling is this? Okay, so there's 2. Remember, we talked about cluster and we talked about stratified. Okay, cluster is when you take a sample about a certain topic and then sample all of those people, versus stratified is when I take a certain topic and then pick random people from that. So because I found senior homerooms and then I chose 5 random people, that is a stratified random sample. Okay, because I took my seniors and then I took 5 from each senior homeroom, versus if I had taken all the seniors from the senior homerooms, then I would have been a cluster. So like number 20 says we have every senior homeroom and then surveys all of the students in those homerooms. That is a cluster random sample, because I specifically wanted to survey senior homerooms or senior students. All right, so that's those 3. And then on the back, number 21 and 22, the last 2 questions. Number 21 says, someone stands at the door of the school and asks students to fill out a survey. What type of sampling is this? So it says, stands at the door and asks students to fill out a survey. So basically, as people are coming to the door, they're filling out that survey, which means that that is what's called a convenience random sample. Okay, convenience random sample, because people are coming to you. All you have to do is stand there and they're going to come to you and do the problems for you. All right, number 23 says the number of calls received by a technical support center during 18 randomly selected days is listed. Identify the outlier and describe how it affects the mean and the standard deviation. All right, so first of all, we need to find out which one is my outlier. So again, I'm going to list my numbers from smallest to largest. So I've got 14. Then I've got, I think 50 would be my next smallest number. Yep, 50. 51. 53. And then we've got 57. Then we've got 64. Nope, 62. Then 64. 65. 66. 69. And 70. And then we have 72, 77, 82, 88, and 98. Oh, 88 twice, and then 98. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Oop, where am I missing? We got 14, 50, 51, 53, 57, 62, 64, 65, 66, 69, 70, 72, 77, 82. Oh, I'm missing 68. It was right there in front of my face. Lord have mercy. All right. So we need to determine what is an outlier. But before I want to find out which one is my outlier, it says we want to know how it affects the mean and standard deviation. Well, that means I need to know what was my mean and standard deviation to begin with, so we can know what changes happens to it. All right, so just to save us some time, I'm going to go ahead and find the mean and standard deviation using the calculator. But you know, I've already done it about 5,000 times now, how to find it using by hand. So stat edit, we've got clear enter. All right, 14, 50, 51, 53, 57, 62, 64, 65, 66, 68, 69, 70, 72, 77, 82, 88, 88, 98, and so that should be 18 numbers. Yep, stat calc, my one variable stats. All right, so my mean, my original mean, is equal to 66.33. And then my original standard deviation, I'm going to just put the little standard deviation symbol, was 18.086. All right, that was my original. So now we need to find out what our standard deviation, or what our outlier is, so that way we can take that number out and find out what it does to the standard deviation and mean. So remember, to find out an outlier, first thing I need to do was find my interquartile range. So I need to find out what my quartiles are. So let's find our median first. So 14, 98, 50, 88. And I'm sure some of y'all can probably already tell what the outlier is by looking, but let's go ahead and go through the process anyways. We got 66 and 68. Which means that our median, 66 plus 68 over 2 gives me 67. So my median right here is 67, okay? So now I need to find, that's my median, my Q2 and Q3. So I'm going to start by, on this one side, to find my Q2. So 14, 66, 50, 65, 51, 64, 53, 62, 57 is my Q2. And then we'll come over here, 68, 98, 69, 88, 70, 88, 72, 82, and then 77 is my Q3. All right, so that means my inner quartile range, or IQR, is equal to 77 minus 57. So that's equal to 20. So what we're going to do is take our inner quartile range and multiply it again by 1.5. So that gives me times 1.5 is equal to 30. So we're going to take our Q2, 57, and subtract 30. So 57 minus 30 is equal to 27. So that is the most that my minimum should be. And then I'm going to take my Q3, 77, and add 30, which is 77 plus 30 gives me 107. So that should be the largest my maximum values be. So 107, I have no numbers larger than 107. But with 27, I have this number 14. Okay, so that means my outlier is equal to 14, because I shouldn't have a number less than 27 or greater than 107. So my outlier is 14. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my stat edit, and I have this 14 that I need to get rid of. I'm going to delete it. Okay, now I can find out what my new mean and standard deviation are. So new mean is equal to 69.41, and then my new standard deviation is equal to 13.26. So we need to look and say, okay, what happened to my mean and standard deviation once I took the outlier out, or what happened because the outlier was there? So the outlier, my original mean was 66, but my correct mean should be 69. So that means the outlier brought the mean down, or it decreased my mean, okay, because it should have been 69, but it was actually 66, okay? And the outlier also made my standard deviation go up, because it should have been 13, but it was actually 18. So my outlier brought, B-R-O-U-G-H-T, the standard deviation, put SD for standard deviation, up. Okay, so when you have an outlier, it brings your mean either up or down depending on where the outlier is. And then the outlier also brings your standard deviation up, because that creates a larger spread. So that's why it brings your standard deviation up. So again, if we want to compare, and you will have a problem like this where you have to compare the data, if you have an outlier, you create the original, create your new, and then describe what happened. So because I have what my mean should have been, it was actually brought down, and then my standard deviation should have been 13, but it was actually brought up to 18 because I had an outlier in it. Okay? So if you have any questions, I know this video was longer than what I normally like to do because I spent a lot of time doing everything by hand. Again, I don't like, if you have a calculator, please do so. The test is only 20 questions, and it's not going to require you to find the mean, median, mode, and standard deviation on every problem. It's not going to be like that, but I wanted to go through plenty of example problems on how to do that. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Comment on the actual post, or comment on the YouTube video, or message me on Remind, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. All right, I miss you guys so much. I hope I'm making this video before your spring break, so I hope you have a good spring break, but by the time you've probably seen this video, it's after your spring break. So I hope you had a great spring break or whatever. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.